But yeah, so for our next presentation, delivering magical experiences through modern data and app innovation, we have Lee Reese, who's joining us. And Lee Reese is your guide to the intersection of healthcare and technology. Currently serving as an Azure data specialist for healthcare at Microsoft, he's deeply committed to leveraging data and AI to revolutionize how we approach patient care, health outcomes, and medical research. His expertise lies in employing Azure's robust capabilities to meet the unique needs and challenges of the healthcare sector. Through the application of cutting-edge cloud computing and data-driven insights to assist healthcare providers in enhancing patient experiences, improving health outcomes, and optimizing their operational efficiency. Where technology meets healthcare, that's where the magic happens. That's his mantra that he brings to every initiative. So without further ado, Lee, I can see your screen share there. Go ahead and come off mute and take it away, my friend.
Yeah, well, how do you follow Matt GPT? That was awesome. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that amazing introduction. And so, yeah, I mean, it's the greatest thing about this. I think I'm second to last, but I've had like 8 cups of coffee as I've been sitting here. So thank you very much for the 100+ people that'll stir online with us. So Microsoft created these what we call dream demos, and you're going to get to see in a few minutes why we call it a dream demo. And so we offer these in a bunch of different industries that Microsoft supports, from media all the way through healthcare to manufacturing and retail. So the cool thing about this is everything that you're going to see is available in a GitHub repo. So you can actually download everything that you see here, deploy it.
Still lost it there.
Oh, did
Yep,
I lose you
got
guys?
you back there. You can hear it now, Lee. Oh. A little technical difficulty here. Please stand by. Go ahead and let Lee rejoin there. You get through a long day like this, and it always seems like you run into some sort of issue along the way. Go ahead. Not knowing how long he's going to be gone, I can. Can't believe I'm not real. Thanks, Kettle.
My headset decides to disconnect right at the possible worst time, and I will switch to a speaker if that happens again. I apologize. Can you let me share my screen again? Sorry about that.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right. So
We got you
in
back,
any
Lee.
event, yeah, you got me back. All right, perfect. So with that, so Microsoft created all these healthcare dream demos, and you can actually deploy them in GitHub directly in your environment and have all this cool functionality, access to the Power BI reports, and all the great stuff that Microsoft offers. So and so we're just to show you what's going on here in Microsoft, I've brought up our Event Hub, and here we're seeing over 100,000 requests a minute. We're getting 96,000 messages and almost 7 GB of throughput. So that is the amazing capability that Azure actually brings to the table, being able to do all these cool things. So also part of this demo, we've got just some amazing technology with Azure Synapse Analytics, and then lightning fast Fabric capability that Jason Thomas talked about as well. So here we are pulling up, real Power BI reports actually in Fabric as well. And also we've got a full set of Databricks capabilities with all the really cool Python notebooks. And also, what are you going to do with all that cool data once you have it in your environment, right? All that structured data, all that unstructured data as well. And you're going to actually use that to do all these cool AI ML things. And also part of this GitHub repo is hospital wait time forecasting, bed occupancy rate, extracting information from form recognizer that you might want to do. And I'm going to show you that in the demo. And then some other OpenAI use cases as well. And so with that, let's just jump right into to the demo. And this is my friend April. So April's the CEO for Contoso Healthcare. So what April likes to really do is start her day in this broad view here. And April manages a fairly large health system with about 30 hospitals in the US. And so April likes to jump in here, and she's really concerned with 5 different key metrics on a daily basis, right? So April wants to look at her readmission rate. She wants to look at her margin. She wants to look at bed occupancy rate and also patient leakage. Like, are we referring patients outside of our health system that we should be retaining and retaining that revenue? And then also she cares about that patient experience, right? What are our patients saying that are maybe good things or not so good, right? So with that, let's just jump right into it. So here we are, and April's kind of taking a look at what's going on in her executive dashboard. And here April can see a whole bunch of KPIs, right? So she can see the overall health of the system that's going on, how many patients, outpatients and inpatients we're seeing, how many sales campaigns we have going on. That may be important. But then April sees something that really concerns her here. She can actually see a reduction in revenue. So that may be something that she wants to look into and be a little concerned about. She can also see the real-time operational analytics. And back on that Event Hub screen I showed you, where we're streaming all that information through that whole health system on our bed occupancy rate. She has about about 44,000 IoT sensors that are around the whole environment. She wants to make sure those will work. And the other thing is we want to make sure we have plenty of ventilators, right? Especially with COVID and everything that's going on, we want to make sure that we have ample ventilators. And then also she can see her appointments that are in person, virtual, and almost missed as well, so that she has that information. We can see that she notices also here that her bed occupancy rate is increasing. And then the ER wait time looks kind of static right now, but then also the real-time quality care analytics, right? Real-time information. What's our staff to patient ratio? We definitely want to know that. What's our patient leakage? Our average patient sentiment? What type of tweets are going out there about the hospital system? We want to make sure that's all positive. And then also how many total admissions. But so we've got data from the past, the present, but then also from the future here. We want to be able to see what's the readmission rate going to look like in 30 days. We're showing here it's going to be about 16%. And then also what's the bed occupancy rate going to be? And then April has the ability to kind of track those metrics and then plan for whatever those patient increases might be. So April decides to jump in here, and we can see right away that the readmission rate in Miami is actually a little higher than April would like. So she takes a look at the readmission rate here in Miami and sees that it's 9%. Let me let this finish loading up. And so we can track that rest of that information here across the health system as well. Real-time demo, we like I said. So April jumps in here to Miami. We're going to look at the health system and just dive in right here. So let me let this load up. So one of the things that the first thing that April notices, and what may be a concern for her, is one, we can see right here that our bed demand is increasing above our available census. So really what we're having is too many patients come into the health system right now that are causing, for some reason, an influx in beds that we really can't handle. And we really want to get to the bottom of figure out what's causing that. So the first thing April wants to do here is look at the air quality index map. And when April takes a look at that, the first thing she notices that the air quality right now in Miami actually looks pretty bad. So, we can see the parts per million here. We can basically see what it is going to look like for the morning commute. And we can just basically see from this data that the air quality index is really quite unhealthy right now. So let me jump back. Oh, let me jump back one. I wanted to jump back here. So the other thing that April can do is take a look here, and we've actually coupled ChatGPT with this air quality index information. And so the first thing I want to know is, it's telling me right here that my average bed demand was actually unexpectedly a little higher. And the city is Miami, and it's telling me that I'm seeing an increase in bed demand, but it's also telling me here that the average bed demand for air quality index moderate was unusually high. So now I'm kind of getting an idea that the air quality index actually is what could be causing this issue. So what April wants to do is she wants to dive into this actually a little further and try and figure out what's going on here. So she gets some basic information from the hospital here in Miami, so she can see the bed occupancy rate, the readmission rate, which we kind of already said was climbing up, and then the patient experience. She's got IoT sensors spread around here. It wants to make sure that patients are properly socially distancing in the health system as well. So the first thing she's going to do is jump in here. Let this load up really quick. And so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to look at a cohort of patients. And what we noticed is we see a lot of health systems that have multiple EMRs, maybe Allscripts or Epic and Cerner, and a lot of those systems don't talk to each other. So what Microsoft did is we wanted to create a secure Firestore that would actually allow us to pull in all that data, network all this information together, and put it in a place where it can be searched in a single secure location, and that's actually through Microsoft Fire. So once we have that data in the system, we can go in here and actually ask questions of that data. And this is not ChatGPT. This is just straight Power BI. So I can go here and say count number of patients. And it's telling me that I have 56 patients. And then I can also say something like by tree map. And so there's a couple of different things that it allows me to actually interact with my data and things like that. So I'm going to go down here and pick up my favorite person, Rita. So let's go over here to Rita. And so this allows me to do a couple of things. One is Rita may have visited a couple of different health systems, and Rita right now actually has shortness of breath. So Rita's going to come in, and she's going to see somebody in the hospital. But we see here that Rita's visited Woodgrove Hospital, Beverly Hospital, and a whole bunch of other health systems that may actually be on different EMRs. So the physician and the folks here can see some different information. We can actually see an overview of the stuff that may have been collected on that particular visit. I can double click on that and get the vitals from that visit. I can click over here, see some additional information from that as well, such as heart rate, blood pressure, and again, this is the amazing streaming that's provided by Azure, as well as pathology. So maybe we want to review some tests as well, and so we have the ability to sort of pull all this information in, and obviously highlighting the medications here as well, which is key. And we also incorporated a radiology view into this as well. And maybe Rita had an X-ray, and we want to be able to just bring that up on an iPad or a Surface and show Rita what's going on and what we found from that radiology exam. So with that, we've created this patient cohort now. And so we want to actually dive in a little deeper and find out what is going on with these patients and why they're having issues. So we have about 45,000 patients in this cohort study, and we've got some basic information here, but we're also going to take a look at the key influencers of why these patients are actually coming into the health system. And we've actually coupled this with ChatGPT, and we can see some things here like they have allergies, they're Gen X. We can see that their city is Miami. Maybe some of them are a little bit overweight as well, and we're calling that out there. So some of the things that I can do with OpenAI and ChatGPT is maybe we want to be able to create a quick letter to the patients that we want to get out before something like this happens. So we can actually say, hey, you know what, we're expecting some poor air quality, and this maybe is something that we can email out. And this just says, hey, we want to let you know that the air quality is expected to be poor in the next 10 days. We want you to take measures to try and avoid that. I don't know if you would say due to your obesity, but you know, who knows nowadays. We urge you to contact your physician and for advice like that. But because I have access to all this great data, I can do a couple other things. Like I can say how many additional patients might I expect over the next 10 days. And with OpenAI and ChatGPT, you just never know what kind of response you're going to get. All right, so it says it's difficult to predict, but obviously I've provided with a little bit of information here. And so it says here that based on the air quality prediction for Miami, I should be prepared for a 20% increase in patient admittance due to shortness of breath. And I can say, based on that, how many additional nurses might I need? So I can ask that as well. And let's see what OpenAI comes back with here. So typically it'll come back and say you need a 20% increase in nurse staffing. But again, so this just really pointing out, it's giving me the ability to sort of really chat with my data and really understand what's going on with these patients. So once we understand that, we've got our cohort in, and you know, to take that one step further, I want to come over here and take a look at what we could potentially do with healthcare notes. And so a lot of our customers nowadays are using Nuance. So the doctor's coming into the room, he's sitting that device on the counter, and you're actually getting a real live transcription of that actual hospital visit. So the cool stuff we're doing with that Nuance allows you to have like just phenomenal medical notes. And using text analytics for health and also OpenAI, we can create a contextual summary of that visit. And so what are the health systems that I actually work with, we get a lot of requests where they come in and say, well, and I actually had this what happened myself one time where I brought my son to the hospital for a sore throat, and I got a bill for $4,500. And they said, well, you had outpatient surgery. I said, no, we didn't. We actually just had a visit for a sore throat. And they said, well, we must have used the wrong ICD code when we submitted your bill. And obviously that was the case. So one of the things we can do here with text analytics for health is we can actually take a look and see what those ICD-10 codes are. A lot of the health systems I work with, they come to me and say, hey, you know what, we don't necessarily think we're billing for all of the things that we should be billing for when we bring somebody in. They may make a request for a visit with a sore throat, and then we look at 2 or 3 other things while they're actually in there, and we don't see that we're actually billing for all those things. So this gives you a real quick way to break down those ICD-10 codes and then provide a contextual summary. So OpenAI had the ability to go in here, read this entire summary, and then provide the physician with a sort of an overview of what it found during that visit. Additionally, the same thing with medication. Physician may not want to sit there and read through a whole entire chart and figure out, let me guess, and see what this patient's currently taking. So we have the way to actually, using text analytics for health, pull all that stuff out of there as well. And then maybe the vitals, we just want to be able to take a look and see what actually the vitals were on that visit. So pretty cool there. We can do some pretty neat stuff. All right, so moving forward here, Let's go over to clinical. Actually, I want to go here to, let me go to the next slide. We'll skip the HoloLens video. We'll go here to form recognizer. You can still hear me, Matt?
Yep, we got you.
All right. So we can do some that's not working. Let me go to the next one. Okay, so form recognizer here, pretty interesting. We can take all kinds of different forms. In this case, we've got a handwritten form. We can also take in, a patient intake form. That could be a picture. It could be something that was scanned in. What I've noticed working with a lot of health systems is up to 70% of the data they have is actually unstructured. And this is a good example of what those unstructured forms might be. We can even take a handwritten form in this case. So what I'm going to do is process this with Azure Form Recognizer, and what it's going to do is actually read that form, and it's going to come back and give me all this data in JSON. So I can now take that unstructured data and store it in a database, and I can call it up later if I want to. But now that I have this information, I can do a couple of things, right? So with OpenAI, I can say, does this look like a work comp incident? And it says, yes, this appears to be a work comp incident. I can say, create a healthcare claim using this data. So now that I have this form, just as simplistic as that, obviously this may or may not fit your format, but so it just basically created a healthcare claim for me. I can also do certain things like, hey, we use a lot of X12, right? So I can come here and say convert to X12. That usually takes a couple seconds longer. And so there we go. So we've basically taken a handwritten healthcare form, pulled the data in with Cognitive Services Form Recognizer, converted it to X12, and then let's say I need that in Fire, I can convert to Fire as well. And I mean, just the things we can do with OpenAI and ChatGPT are really just incredible. And again, this is available for download in a GitHub repo. We actually have resources that can help you get a lot of this stuff deployed as well. So you can see here, I've taken that form and also converted that to Fire. So pretty interesting stuff there. And so we'll move on here. So here, basically, we're collecting forms.
Just so you know, about 5 minutes left.
Yep. Perfect, perfect. I'm going to wrap it up right now. So we've got, we are noticing a high amount of incidents here in Honolulu. Thank you for the time check, Matt. A high event of incidents in Honolulu. And these could be patient complaints or work complaints, but I can say what is causing these issues in, hopefully I can spell Honolulu. There we go. So we can see that I just said, what is causing this issue? It says the cause of the injuries is mostly indoor stairs. How can I address this issue? And so, well, that one didn't work out very well. Resolve the issue with injuries in Honolulu. And so let's see what it says here. Last time I did this, of course, it came up and said, all right, so it says here, high risk, make sure that they're adequately lit, that people are wearing protective gear, engaging in risking activity, having first aid available and stuff like that. So just by this, you can actually see that that you can actually, once we have all those forms that I previously showed you, we can take all that data, we can log it, we can put it in really super cool Power BI reports like this. We can actually display the information in a bunch of different ways. and then present that out and log it and do all those really super cool things as well. So I think that's pretty much it. So the great news here is that April was able to take a look at forecast what was coming with this all the poor air quality. And now April's logged into her executive dashboard here, and she can actually see that their margin is increasing like they like it to see. Their bed occupancy rate is decreasing again. And now April can really see that we're all in the green and we're on the right track for being back to being profitable and keeping our patients safe and happy within our health system. So with that, I could jump into one more demo, Matt, but I maybe don't have the time, I'm guessing.
If you can cram it in 2 minutes, we're good on
I can
questions.
probably cram it in 2 minutes. All right. Payers are a little different. The biggest thing that payers are concerned with is their contact centers, thousands of calls that they're getting on a daily basis. So here I can see that we're tracking our call centers. We're looking at the call center wait time. We're seeing all those things here. I jump in and I can see my net promoter score in Miami is only 2%. That's not really that good. We want to make sure that our patients that are calling in and people that are calling into our contact center actually have a much better experience than that. So what we're noticing here is that with the answer delays and everything that we're seeing, our calls are going up. We notice that there is a problem with our script. Our script right now is only scoring 36%. ChatGPT has the ability to analyze all these calls, pump them into an AI tool to make a recommendation. So this script is not scoring very well, 36% right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that information through the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform. And then we're going to submit all that information, and then it's going to come back with a recommended script. So what we've got here is a script that's going to be scoring about 72% from that perspective. I can click here. I'll see the recommended script that's actually generated by ChatGPT, and that is going to score me at a 93%. So implementing just these changes that are recommended, we think that that's going to give the patient a much more seamless experience and a much more improved experience within the call center. So just making simple changes like that, I think we are saving one organization, I think about 12,000 minutes a month in their contact center from agents interacting with folks. So with that, Matt, and I'll pass it back to you, sir, if there's any questions.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Lee. And I see the applause showing up there. The only question that I think was unanswered from chat was just drop into chat a link to the GitHub repo that you mentioned, if you would be so kind.
I would love to do that right now. I will.
Yeah,
Thank you,
good.
folks. Appreciate it.